We're back doing another broadcast for the Marshall County Public Library, for the State Archives in Frankfort, and for the Murray State University Pogue Oral History Program. We're visiting in the home today of Jess Beard, who lives, we'd say, in the Draffinville area. And he's one of our prominent citizens, and we understand he has a good memory, and we want to learn what we can from him about Marshall County. This program is presented by WCBL. Shelby McCallum is sitting in, and we'll be doing an interview with Mr. Beard. Mr. Beard, how old are you?
I'm 88.
88. You're a vigorous-looking young fellow. Where were you born?
Right back here, about a half mile.
So
right
Marshall County...
right here in this same spot, you might say. I'll be 89 in March.
Can you tell us anything about your parents?
About what?
Your parents, your mother and father, who they were?
Well, my mother was a Vasseur. You know, they call them Vasseurs, but her real name was Vasseur. You
Yes,
knew
sir.
that name. That's French name.
Yes, sir.
My mother was a Frenchman. And her name was Jane Leontine Vasseur. That was her maiden name, and she married a Beard. And his name was William Owen. William Owen Beard.
Was he related to the Dan Carter Beard that started the Boy Scouts of America?
Well,
He was from
I don't remember that. No, I don't know about that now.
Covington, Kentucky.
Covington, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
I don't know
Well,
about
do you
that.
remember anything about your grandparents? Or
Very little. I don't remember ever seeing but one of them. They all died before I was born. They all died young on both sides. I remember my grandma, Vassar, but on the Beard side, I don't remember my grandpa or my grandmother, either one. They died before I was born. They died young.
yes, sir.
My daddy died when he was 41. I was 7 years old when he died.
You were born in this general area. Where did you go to school? Was it a one-room country school?
George?
Where did you attend school? A one-room school?
Right over here in these woods, right out, Tony.
The name of it was...
I won't say. It's in the Oakley Woods, probably it's Oakley School, but when it was tore down and moved built one right down in by Mr. Stahl's place, and it was called Stahl School. And I believe that was over there too. I believe it's Stahl School.
Yes, sir.
Right
All
away,
right,
in them woods, right away.
Do you remember the names of any of your teachers?
Oh yeah. Lucy Fass was one of them. Marcus Pace was one. Walter Peck was one. Eva Powell was one. And Nana McWaters was one.
Oh, good. We interviewed Miss McWaters a while ago.
I just went to her just very little. She was young when she was talking. I was getting about ready to quit. And I quit young, you see. And so, I guess I could think of some of the other.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, I expect I learned the most about arithmetic and spelling now, the most I learned in school. I didn't get to go to school much. My daddy died when I was 7 years old, and it left me and a brother 2 years older than I were, and my mother to make what little living we made. And we worked, I'm telling you that.
Did
when
you
we were
farm?
kids. Yes, sir.
What crops did you grow?
Mostly butter back in them days. Of course, we had butter and corn.
What did tobacco bring? I noticed this year it's averaging $1.83.
Well, that's more than I used to get. I sold it several years after 6 and 7 cents. I sold it as high as 50 cents a hundred. That's the lugs and trash.
Mm-hmm.
I done it.
Well, I remember a crop that my dad and I made that brought 75 cents for the lugs, and the whole crop brought $21.
So I sold them lugs 50.
Yeah.
So did.
All right.
And then back in them days, most all those farmers around here, that was the main crop that we had. They wasn't raising cattle in and just a few hogs, mostly for your own use. There wasn't no market such as that.
What were your amusements in those days, Mr. Beard?
Oh, we had a good time. I knew the truth. We had having play parties every few nights around the neighbors, and candy breakings, and There's people around that had the string band. They're best one another. With something going on all the way. More so now. Now they've got to go to dances and things like that, drinking liquor. A lot of them do, you know that.
Mr. Beard, a fellow told me one time that there were a lot of members of the Baptist churches and the Churches of Christ around here, and that they couldn't go to square dances, couldn't go to dances, so they went to play parties, but it's the same thing. Is that right?
Well, that's a little different than dancing play party. But a square dance is a pretty game, I'll say that. I like it. I was through a few back then days.
How would you describe a play party?
Describe what?
A play party. What did you do there?
You don't remember? You never did go to play party?
Did you play buffalo gals?
Yeah, chase the buffalo and that playing and playing, sing, you know, and just have a good time. Have candy breakings, you know, and break up a box of candy, stick candy, different colors.
Did you ever go to a pie supper?
Well,
I bought your best girl's pie at the school?
I don't remember about that. Go to candy breakings, you know, and they build a box of candy in different colors and break it up in sticks, put in a box or something other, and you and your girl, you pick out somebody to draw candy with you, and you match sticks, you got to kiss her.
Oh.
Tell them about that, your girlfriend. Tell them about that girl.
About me, that's with?
Yeah.
Tell us that.
I thought she was a pretty girl. She was a neighbor to us, though. I see that pretty picture. And so I asked her to draw candy with me. She did, and we matched. And, of course, I started to kiss her. She didn't want to kiss me. And she just pushed me back, you know. And so actually, time come my time to draw again, and we drawed and matched again. I told her, I said, I want to kiss you this time. She said, you're not. I said, I'll show you. And God, I gladly see that about started off. I didn't even know you talking about a fight. We were down the floor, we were everywhere. But I finally kissed her. God, she like pull her hair off my head. I need that.
Well, I can see you didn't take no for an answer easily, did you?
I met the kiss if I could, and I did. I kissed her. Well, we had a heck of a time.
Well, what about some of the playground games at school? Did you play?
We don't want to play in school now. I may tell you something. Back in them days, kids studied at school, and there wasn't no monkey around. We had a little town
One
ball.
fellow said they played town ball. Tell me what town ball was.
Well, you just play ball, just sort of like any other. You just little old ball games, you know. You just bat it and home run.
Baseball?
Yeah, played sort of like that. We called town ball back then, you know. Just the kids back there. And that was that little that we had dinner when we had learned. They had time, a few minutes then to play ball and go and play. Now, the rest of the time, when you went in that school building with most of them teachers, and you hear the Marcus Pace, I guess he's raised over here at scale.
Yes, sir.
There wasn't no mucking went on. You studied.
Were you afraid
If you didn't know your lesson, if you didn't know it, well, he'd give that lesson book that night that you carried home, study that night, and you better know it when you go back tomorrow. Now, that's the kind of teacher we had back then.
Were you afraid of him any?
I've seen him slap pretty almost grown girls. Just see them all just fooling around a little bit, not studying yet. I've seen him walk one slap them. I've done it.
Did you ever get a whipping?
No. My mother, I'm scared of it. My mother always told me if I got a whip at school, she whipped me when I got home.
Yeah, my dad told me the same. Well, you were sort of afraid of this teacher then.
Yes, sir. He was afraid of teachers.
Respected him well, right?
Oh, of course, we've had a few now. It was all young women teachers, and they couldn't control them too well. But no, most of them teachers, Miss Lucy Faust was a good teacher.
Jess, can you tell them about coming back from one of them play parties one night?
Coming back from a play party one night, what happened?
What was
About
that?
that when you heard something.
That what?
When you heard that thing in the tree.
Oh.
What was it, a panther?
You know, I never did know. I never did have no idea. I'd been out to see some gal, I believe, that night, and was coming across the field road. Just had crossroad through the field everywhere else back then. Coming across the field. my horse had got a little loose over there from the buggy. It come untied, I reckon, and I got out to come home, and my horse and buggy had gone. And so I knew about the way the horse did because I tried to come home. I knew about the way he come, and I was just coming through the dark looking on the side of the road. Got over down the far side of our field, back down there in the creek, back in Holly. And something screamed up on the hill, not very, very far from me. I was pretty close to me. I'm telling you, I never heard nothing like it, and I've never heard nothing since. And the hair was on my head. and I didn't know what to do. I know I had to keep going. And I was paling fence right alongside of it. I got there and got me the biggest paling I could find. I want to use that for a club. That wasn't a mountain of hill beans, but I got it. And I went on. Never did hear it no more, but I heard the folks heard it up around Brightsburg, back over in the holler back there. It was a scary thing, I can tell you that. I never heard nothing like it.
Jess, can you tell them about that panther and that young girl, and about when they tried to get in the house that night?
That was our old home place over there where I was way back when my granddad and my dad lived there, and he was young. They said there's a panther that he heard it out in the yard, and he went and opened the door, and he seen it lunged at him, and he slammed the door, and his prints was on the door there the next morning. I've always did hear him tell that.
Boy, wildlife was much nearer to us then than it is today.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. There's something like that going on around those back
Wasn't
then.
there a story about a panther killing a young girl?
About what?
About a panther killing a young girl back in these parts. Is that right?
I don't believe I remember that, Dickie.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure about that.
I don't remember about killing a girl. I don't.
Well, you talked about kissing this young girl and so on. Eventually you grew up, and did you get married?
Yeah, I married. I was 24 years old when I got married.
And to whom were you married?
Mm-hmm.
Whom did you marry?
I married Abe Pugh's daughter.
She was a Pugh.
Pugh.
And you had children?
Two, a boy and a girl.
Right. Did the war bother you any? Were you?
I was in the Army a while, back in War I.
World War One. Where did you train?
Well, I trained, most of the training done at the camp in McClellan, Alabama.
In Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Were
I
you?
didn't go into the Army till long up to the first of 18.
Was that the field artillery?
I was in field artillery. And so I was first sent to Camp Taylor, Louisville. Went up there, but didn't stay that long, trained them right there, and then went on down there, and that's where I done the training. And they was getting us about ready, and I was sent across when the armistice signed. I was darn glad when they signed it, too.
Did you like Army life, Jess? Did you like it?
No, sir, I didn't like it, because they was knocking the fire out of us back then.
Yeah.
Whew. They was rough on us, sure enough, back
How
back
was
then.
the food in the Army?
Pretty good, it's all right. But down there in the camp where I was in, of course, they had that mess hall, and whatever you call it down there, and you just take your tin cup and went along down by the tables, and they put in your plate what you wanted. And I like meat, but I like the lean part. I wouldn't eat fat meat, and I didn't like it at all. And I'd take out some of that old meat in order to get that lean, I'd put fat in too, and they had a guard stand at where you washed that plate now to see if you didn't throw nothing away.
A little different today.
I'd clamp that lid down on that, and go to swinging up there, that pot or pan or bowl of water. Look like I just tuck that sand down like that and let the lid come over and the fat meat fall out then, and I got a chance to flip that meat out and put it in my handkerchief, wrap it up, and then throw it away when it goes outside. You had to do tricks like that. I'm done you right.
Did you volunteer for a lot of things?
Did I volunteer? No, I didn't volunteer.
How did they volunteer back then? What did everybody do?
Oh, yeah, well, a lot of people volunteered back then. A lot of children didn't
I
volunteer.
mean, when you got to camp, when they asked you to do something.
Well, I turned one thing down, I can tell you that. My wife had come over down there, and she was staying up there in a little town named Anniston, I believe. And I was out them old field, old guns, old cannons, you call 'em. And the commander of my bunch, he is on the name of head gunner, head of the bunch, you know, and he picked me. And I told him, you ain't allowed to tell them dudes you don't want it. You know what, I guess you hear that. And that kind of hurt him a little bit. And I told him, I said, I don't want it. And then I told him, I told him, but I guess he thought no better. I said, I don't think I'd learn it. And I said, I don't want it. That kept knocking me up and going down that night with the wife, you know. That's why I've had to went and take training on it at night if I'd taken that job. And that's the reason why I turned it down. He kind of gave me a little ball and out, but I just stuck to it and got out of it.
And you were discharged then before you actually had to go into the front lines.
Oh, yeah, but down there they'd go across. No.
There's one other thing. Jeff, can you tell about your grandmother? Wasn't she afraid of things a little bit?
Wasn't you what?
Wasn't your mother superstitious, or your grandmother?
Oh, yeah, she believed all these old folk stories, though.
Yes, sir.
Haints, they call them, things like that.
Uh-huh.
She could tell them pretty scared, and they believed in. A lot of them old people believed way back then.
They planted the gardens in the right sign, didn't they?
Some of them did, and some of them do now.
Yes, sir. They really do.
Well, there's one thing.
I never did believe in it, but some folks does.
When you was a dating there, didn't you almost have a buggy wreck or something? The buggy wreck? Can you tell us about that?
Buggy wreck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had several buggy wrecks.
Well, tell about that one where you had almost a head-on collision.
Oh, I started to a party one night, and we was just going down through the field. A road went down through old field back over there, a little road back on further. And we was going to lick the split down there, and a pretty good ditch. And just went in that ditch, you know, the old horse that was trotting. Went into that pretty steep, and tore the first poles out and just straightened out, you know, and tore loose. And I just, of course, I was out on the ground. I just jumped up as quick as I could, jerked the old horse stopped, jerked the harness off of him, jumped up on the bareback, and here I went. Sailed on into the party. We had rough ways to go back then. I left that night going down partying, half freeze to death. But
How were the
we didn't
roads?
think nothing about that then. We was used to it.
How were the roads?
Oh, the roads are rough. My Lord, there's nothing but gravel in, you see.
Sometimes not even that.
Well, that's right, what you call a pig path.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you run into a buggy once with another couple?
Oh, yeah. Oh, what, them girls and buggy?
Yeah, boy and
Yeah,
girl.
turned to see. Turned the buggy over, and old horse run away. One of the girls got hurt last morning, and I cut my hand up last morning, but it didn't matter too much.
How did that happen? How did you
I always went like lightning, and turned the short corner.
Hot rodder?
I turned the short corner, going as fast as a horse was, flipped the buggy over.
Well, didn't you almost have a head-on collision with another buggy? Didn't you bump axles or something?
Didn't what?
Didn't you bump axles with a buggy once? You and another buggy or something? Almost turned them over?
Oh, I don't remember about that.
Well, I think you told me that one once.
I don't know. I remember.
After you got back from the war and then you were farming, did you buy a farm or rent one?
Our daddy had a small farm. He left us a small farm, and that's where we lived there for several years.
What were the taxes? Were they very high?
No. Didn't pay but very little taxes. And after we got up, after me and brother got up, I guess 14, 15 years old, we bought a place. Right joined our old place, 60-some acres. And now you didn't go and get nothing for your material now, and of course land didn't cost you too much. But we paid for that. We worked for that and paid for it.
All right, what was church like back then? Did they have long sermons or?
Well, just about like there now, I guess, you know. Yeah, just about like there now. Yeah, we.
Someone told me that Bryansburg Church of Christ over here was one time had a different name. Was it called Union?
Oh, no, let me see. Let me tell you that. I know that well. Went to it.
Well, while you're thinking of that, I know they did establish Oak Valley in later years. If that slipped your mind, that's fine. How big a town was Scale?
Huh?
How big a town was Scale? Did it ever have?
No, it's just a little bit bigger than that. It had one store and stand now they got. Of course, there's been a few more houses built around here, but back that time it was just a that crossroad was there in a little store sitting up on the corner. That's where it used to be now.
Do you remember the old covered bridge just this side of Benton?
Lord, yes, I come through that one night scared too. I was then up in Callaway County and to see my uncle, and it'd come a big rain. I walked to Benton and caught trains running back in, passing trains pretty often. I caught the train come on back in. It watered out all over that bottom down there. I mean, over the road come through the bottom. And dark as pitch, and the only way that I could tell, and watered up over it, and the only way that I could tell where the road was, look at timber on the side, and I was just using that opening to come on down through and got that covered bridge. I always scared of anything like that. At night, there'd be some tramp hiding up in there, I'd get up around people along the side, looking through there, try to see if there's anybody in there. I was scared of it, and it's scary in a place like that, me.
Yes, I remember going through there when I was real small with my dad, and the horse wouldn't go. So my father got out and grabbed the horse by the bridle bit and led him through that place. The horse would not go through. And it scared my father because he thought maybe the horse
saw somebody
in there.
Yeah, there's always a spooky place to me, even if the water wasn't up.
Well, couldn't you remember very much about Benton in the old days? Tell us about some of the the merchants in town.
I just knew a bunch of them back over there back at that time.
Calvert City wasn't a very large place then, was it?
No.
Before you got your mail, wasn't it? Didn't you get your mail out of Calvert?
Yeah, we did for a while. Yeah, I've got mail out of Calvert.
How about in the winter, back in that snow?
Well, we didn't. The mail carriers wasn't coming. It couldn't. And we hadn't gotten no mail in a good while. Mother wanted to get the mail. I wrapped the mule's hind legs in tow sacks and rode to Calvert City to get the mail. Then there's ice that formed on top of that snow, and it actually cut the mule's leg, walking through. And the mule, tow sacks wrap his leg, keep him cutting his mule's legs.
Could you tell us about the great snow of 1917? When did it fall? Was it December?
It came in December, and it lasted about all winter.
Stayed on till
near most winter.
About April, someone told me.
Well, way along. I won't say that out late, but it lasted near all winter. Mm-hmm. It was a big one, too.
Well, did you have enough wood to cut the last year?
No, a lot of people then they run out of wood, and you had to get it away. We carried, I rode a mule, there used to be a shop here at Palmville, old Uncle Dick Austin. And I wrapped the mule's leg and rode him out there and had him put what's called ice shoes on the mule. They'd put a cleat up front of the shoe, sticking the ice, keeping it cleated. Mm-hmm. And we'd get out in that snow and cut down pretty good saplings, what the old mule could pull, and drag them up to the house on that ice. And then houses back then was open, cold. Ooh, you get upside the farm in front of you, and turn your back around.
Yeah. They weren't insulated well and didn't have storm windows.
And then all there was open too,
Yeah.
I woke up at night. We and my brother slept in the big old room back where there was no fire, and we've just covered our heads up, cleaned up their face, and I woke up in the morning, wanted my breath of hitting that quilt, and it froze solid. I've done that.
Now, you was raised in a log cabin, wasn't it?
Yeah, log room, log cabin.
Well, now, did you ever get in trouble with your shoes getting wet or anything in that snow?
Oh,
your brother?
Lord, yes.
Tell about that.
Well, the brother, my mother was over the wood cutting wood. She was happy. She worked just the same as we worked. And our feet we didn't have overshoes and nothing like that. And the overshoes got full of snow and the feet was free. And Mother told us, go to the house and warm your feet. Dry them socks. Well, we had a big old fire. We up there and pulled over shoes and laid them down in front of the fire on the hearth. We got scuffling and playing and stuff in the other room and forgot about it. Shoes went and looked around and got Reese flying out and, that weren't burned up. And we knew what we'd like to get into, We grabbed them old shoes and run to the water bucket, poured a bucket of water, bucket up for water in each one of them, put them shoes on and went back to work.
Yeah, you couldn't afford to lose them. Could you tell us some other incidents, say, about living through the Great Depression?
Well, my mother, of course, she lived through the Depression, but she was living by herself most of the time at that time, she was. Mm-hmm. She fared all right. I'm going to tell you one thing. Back then, people didn't nobody much have anything. Now you might find a few around these cities, something like that. These country farmers didn't have much. I know that way back on there, anybody around the neighborhood, as I heard of one or two people say they had $5,000. People looked at it and they think, gosh, he's a big shot.
Yeah.
But there's Johnny Stall down there is one of them. Probably you know Johnny Stall, left from J.D. and them.
But you were never hungry.
Oh, sir, boss, we never was hungry.
You grew what you...
My mother was a hustler, I can tell you that. I've seen her jump out of bed a lot of the morning, run. She raised a lot of chicken, turkey, and things like that, and big garden. She jumped out of bed a lot of the morning and run and kill a chicken and fried breakfast. She done that. We had plenty to eat. I never was hungry.
You didn't get it cut up and store ready, pan ready at the store.
We wasn't running the store more than we had it.
Yeah. Well, did you ever kill hogs?
Every year. We always dressed hogs. Oh, yeah. We did have hogs continually.
That was a fun day. Did you ever take a cane and blow up the bladder for a balloon?
Oh, yeah. But most time I never did, and I'm not tell the truth. After I got up grown, I've never been in no meanness. Like in the young days and get out the board, well, we'd get a little mischief and things like that,
Did you ever steal a watermelon?
Yes. I was just fixing to tell you. I was out one Sunday. I had uncles live back down here in the edge of the swamp, and I'd go down there on Sundays and boys about my age. And I got one of the Zula Bright's brother was one of them I got with. His name was old Jess Butler, and another boy down there named McCoy. And we got together and fell across the swamp over there, had watermelons. He raised them sell and said that he'd find watermelons. And we got talking about them watermelons. Just decided we'd go across the swamp where that cross where it wasn't very far away. We'd go over there, and if he was a patch, they claimed to watch it. And we just made that if he was there, we buy us watermelon, and if he wasn't there, we'd just get over there and steal us one. Anyhow. When we got the fence on gauge of wood, and then the melon patch, I went out and field there, and we got that fence and stand with, his name was Estes. We'd say, oh, Mr. Estes. Wasn't holler very loud, but really little He didn't show up. And when he done, we crawled over there and got a couple of them watermelons and crawled back over the fence, got out in the bush back there and sat down and cut up the melon, sitting there eating it. One of them looked around there. Oh, look, I said, Johnny, you're crossing that fence. Well, when he said that, well, we jumped up, and here we were hitting them bushes, and Jess Butler, we scattered, but we met, found one other one that got across the bottom where he said, did y'all hear him shoot? I said, no, I didn't hear him. Yeah, he says, I heard him. He said, I heard the bullet twice. He said, it passed me, and then I passed the bullet.
Well,
that moved, wasn't it? Well, then, of course, that meanness in a way, but that did more kid than we wasn't mean, wasn't. But still, what do you think about it now? Just take it then. if you've got watermelons out there and you've got corn down here in your crib and you got a melon out there that brings $1 and they got corn $1, you steal that melon, what's the difference than what's the corn? Both added same.
Well, you've certainly regaled us, Mr. Beard. We appreciate your cooperation. Thank you for those wonderful stories of early life.
Man, George,
And for the privilege of coming to your home.
Didn't know much, never did.
This is Ray Mofield. We're signing off our tape now, which is brought to you by WCBL for the State Archives in Frankfort, the Marshall County Library, and for the Murray State University Pogue Oral History Library. Your interviewers have been Shelby McCallum, Ray Mofield, and you heard a good many times there Dr. Richard Colburn. And he married your granddaughter? I believe that's correct. And that ends our program for today.